Welcome to the 2019 Mojave Death Race Tortoise Talk. On behalf of the race directors and staff, we want to welcome you to the 2019 Mojave Death Race. We're thrilled that you decided to embark on this unique adventure, and we're sure you'll have an experience like no other. Our course takes us through areas governed by the Bureau of Land Management, the Mojave National Preserve, the County of San Bernardino, and the California and Nevada Departments of Transportation, and the Highway Patrol. These agencies have established mandates and regulations for the usage of their lands, and they will be observing our race this weekend. We're guests of the desert and the many communities, so please respect the residents and others using the roadways and obey all laws. Introduction to the desert tortoise. The desert tortoise, Gopherus agassizi, is native to the Mojave Desert. It's been classified as an endangered species by the United States Federal Endangered Species Act. Desert tortoises can grow to a length of 10 to 14 inches and 4 to 6 inches in height, although juveniles are incredibly small. Their shells are high-domed, greenish tan to dark brown in color. Desert tortoises can live in areas with ground temps exceeding 140 degrees Fahrenheit because of their ability to dig underground in burrows and escape the heat. At least 95% of their lives are spent in burrows. In the burrows, they're protected from freezing weather. The burrows also reduce their water loss and regulate their body temperature. Due to their reliance on burrowing, they're very sensitive to the soil type. They look for soil that crumbles easily during digging and resists collapse, like the soil on the side of the roads in the Mojave Death Race. They prefer sand with clay versus sand with low water holding capacity. Desert tortoises are herbivores, consuming grasses, herbs, wildflower, and cacti. Much of the tortoise's water intake comes from the moisture in the grasses and wildflowers. The tortoise has a very large urinary bladder that can store over 40% of their body weight in water. Bet you wish you could do that. And adult tortoises can survive a year or more without access to water, although we don't recommend you do this on race day. To maintain sufficient water, they reabsorb water in their bladders. And emptying the bladders is one of the defense mechanisms of the tortoise. This leaves the tortoise in a very vulnerable condition in dry areas, and it should not be alarmed, handled, or picked up in the wild unless it's in imminent danger. Do not pick up or handle a tortoise unless it's in imminent danger. Let's talk about predators. Raven, Gila monsters, foxes, badgers, roadrunners, coyotes, and fire ants are all predators of the desert tortoise. They prey on eggs and juveniles. Ravens are thought to cause significant drop in the juvenile tortoise populations, frequently near urbanized areas. Upper respiratory tract disease, what humans know as the common cold, appear to have been responsible for population declines of the desert tortoise. The pathogen Mycoplasma was likely transmitted by contact with an infected individual. So stay on the route. Don't drive your vehicle anywhere except the prescribed route and designated parking areas. Drive slowly. Sounds like common sense, but this will enable you to see wildlife hazards and avoid them. This includes the rabbit population, which appear after sundown, especially on the wide dirt roads. You know, the park rangers tally the carcasses in the morning after a race, and we're held responsible. So watch out. Hey, check under your car, especially during the hot daytime hours. The tortoise may crawl under your car to escape the heat. Before you drive away, just take a look. Pick up your trash. Don't leave any trash whatsoever. Trash endangers the tortoise directly if ingested and attracts ravens, which can then attack the juvenile tortoises. Leave no trace and tread lightly. Dispose of waste properly. Pack it in, pack it out. Leave what you find. Examine, but don't touch the rocks, plants, or other artifacts. Respect wildlife from a distance. Do not follow or approach them, and don't feed the animals, except the animals in your car, which are called racers. Store food rations and trash securely.
Desert tortoises are federally protected under the Endangered Species Act and are listed as threatened. This means that they are protected from being removed from the wild, from being touched or harassed in any form. Extreme temperatures and low rainfall here in the desert make for a very harsh life for the tortoise. But with increase of human presence, they are now faced with new threats. Development, meaning that they lose habitat, raven predation, they're removed from the wild because people want them as pets, and then they also have to worry about crossing the road where they can be hit by vehicles. Here are some ways that you can help this threatened species. 1. If you happen to see a tortoise while you're out hiking, take a step back and enjoy watching this tortoise in its natural habitat. 2. Pack it in, pack it out. By removing your trash, you help keep the raven population low. Ravens are known predators of baby tortoises. 3. Stay on marked routes and obey the posted speed limits. By driving slow, you will be more likely to see tortoises that may be in or on the roads. Tortoises are commonly seen on the road here in Joshua Tree National Park. They're traveling from burrow to burrow within their home range. They're looking for mates. They're looking for wildflowers, which are their natural food source. And they also might be drawn to the road where there are standing puddles of water from rain. Only in an emergency situation where a tortoise is in imminent danger of being killed by a vehicle on the roads do we suggest moving it. If you happen to see a tortoise on the road that's not in immediate danger of being hit or is moving off the road on its own accord, give it plenty of space, play tortoise crossing guard, providing for your safety first, and allow for the tortoise to move off on its own. In the unlikely event that you do have to move a tortoise, here are a few simple instructions. 1. Use a barrier if available. This could be gloves, it could be a t-shirt, or it could also be a page from the newsletter. By using a barrier, this helps decrease the spread of the upper respiratory tract disease that we can carry from tortoise to tortoise. And if you don't have something to use, that's okay. The most important thing is to get the tortoise out of harm's way. The general public will rarely, if ever, need to handle multiple tortoises in one day. 2. Move it low and slow. Pick it up with both hands, keeping it level and a few inches off the road. You want to walk it slowly to the side of the road. 3. Move it in the direction that it was already going. These tortoises know where they want to go. If you put it back on the wrong side of the road, the tortoise is just going to turn around and cross the road again. 4. Move the tortoise about 50 to 100 feet off the road and place it in a shady spot. It will move off on its own when it's ready. One of the reasons that tortoises should not be harassed or touched outside of an emergency situation is that they can void their bladder or pee. Desert tortoise are walking canteens of the desert. They can carry their water in their bladder for up to a year. If they void their bladder and there are no grasses or wildflowers for them to eat to replenish this water, this can be potentially fatal. The greatest threats to the desert tortoise result from human activities. Our actions have a direct impact on the survival of this desert species. Will you see tortoises on your next visit to Joshua Tree National Park?
Some other stuff. First, that tortoise had a name. You might pay attention to it for the quiz at the end. So hey, remember, don't urinate in the desert. We provide porta potties and there are plenty of public restrooms along the course. Anyone caught urinating in public, hey, sorry, but the team's got to be DQ'd. Slow down at night. Watch out for the rabbits. They'll scamper out in front of your vehicle. Driving slowly will help you avoid hitting the rabbit.